Beach Retreat is what brings me closer to the Lord every year.
I just had like such a great experience and it was so much fun.
It brings me back into the church whenever it seems that everything's busy.
This whole week is just centered around you and God, and that's the most important thing.
It's just a week to like get your mind off of everything and just focus on like what's really important.
When we come here, we're getting away from everything and we're just praising the Lord together. It's just incredible.
Coming to Beach Retreat is really eye-opening. It helps you realize that you're not alone and there's always someone you can turn to.
Beach Retreat is the best week of my life.
I always believed in God, but I never had like a strong faith because for a while I was pretty depressed. Like I believed in God that he was our creator and everything, but I didn't trust in him. I didn't have faith in him.
I was just living life it was no God. It was just only at night, pray before I go to sleep and just wake up, live day by day.
I went through a time where I was looking for social acceptance. I would go to parties. I would let bad influences influence me, and I did that for a long time.
I have a lot of anger in me, a lot of depression. It came from my parents' divorce 6 years ago. It really broke me. I felt lost, and I honestly felt like not moving on in life, like I was just trapped.
My parents, they split up when I was 4. I lived in Orange, Texas, and then I moved to Houston with my grandparents. And then, it was 5 years later, after my parents split up, my mom got paralyzed. Cause she was on drugs and stuff, and I guess she let somebody stick a needle in her neck, and it caused a bubble in the back of her spine. So they had to take 2 bones out of her spine, and it made her paralyzed, for the rest of her life.
I came home from school one day and my dad was really, really drunk because my dad's an alcoholic. And he told me and my mother to leave. And so I was like, all right. So my whole family has been divided for years. So it was never one big family. It was oh, let me go to this side, then let me go to this side and this side.
I grew up in a single parent household. And my mother, she's the best mother. She's amazing. You can see Jesus through her. She's taught me so much. But it was tough. I had to learn how to change a tire through somebody else. I had to learn through YouTube how to put a nail in a board to fix the fence.
I was bullied for at least five years. I didn't have an escape. I was confused, didn't know where I was going. I didn't want to be here anymore.
I felt so hopeless. I felt like there was just no reason for me to be here. I had friends, but they weren't really the greatest. So honestly, I felt hopeless. I felt like no one was there. Nobody cared is what I felt. And now I currently live with my aunt. And she was like, one of the rules living with me is you have to go to church.
I went to church before, but I was younger. I didn't understand it. It didn't have meaning to me. Actually, beginning of freshman year, I called myself an atheist. I was so cut off from him. My relationship was minimal to nothing, and something was lost inside of me, and I just felt something was missing.
I felt I couldn't trust him just because I didn't see it. I couldn't see it. I went to church, but I honestly didn't have faith. I had no faith at all.
My view of God was very little. I didn't trust him. I didn't associate. I didn't pray. I thought I was alone. It felt like I was being trapped somewhere, and I would throw my walls up and I wouldn't let them down. It was just tough, like my parents splitting up, me having to live with my grandparents since I was 4, like not having my parents in my life, you know, like that kind of stuff. That's tough. Sometimes I would question, like, God, why? Like, why would you allow this to happen?
I would sit down in bed and be like, God, how can you like be our father and like not give me the right father?
I felt like I couldn't trust anyone. I felt so alone, and I thought about it. I was like, why would Jesus and God just let me feel so alone? Why would they even let me feel so terrible? Like, doesn't he love everyone? Why is this happening to me? So I stopped, because if God loved me, I thought he would make me feel good, but I was missing him. I just felt empty, so I was like, I stopped believing in him.
We're all here by divine appointment. And we're all here to do business with God. But I'm afraid some of us are here. We're much like fish on the beach. Let's, for example, I found somebody who'd never been to the beach. They didn't know anything about fish, but there had been a great wash of fish on the beach, something like you can see. Fish on the beach everywhere. And I would say, I want you to go down there, and I want you to take a pencil and a piece of paper, and I want you to write down everything you see and report back to me about fish. And you would go down the beach, and you'd see all the fish that had been beached, and you'd start writing down and say, well, they stink, okay? And they're breathing heavily, and their eyes are budging out, okay? And they're dirty, they're rolling over in the sand and the dirt. And you'd give us a report on fish about their eyes are bulging out, they're dirty, and they're flopping around. And you'd say, well, that's what I found out about fish. But you missed the most important thing. That's everything you saw, everything you observed, you recorded. But what you missed was you can take those fish, and if somehow they would go back in the ocean, they would not have bulging eyes. They'd not be flopping around. They'd be clean. They wouldn't be dirty any longer. How do fish get off the beach? They're floundering around. They can't live there very long just floundering around. How do they get in the ocean? There would have to be a wave. There'd have to be a giant wave that would come and just cover the beach and wash all those fish back in the ocean. Young men, young women, that's what I've been praying would happen to us here. That the Holy Spirit would come with his big wave of love and emotion and sweep over all of us who are floundering in so many areas of life and sweep us right back in the ocean where we can thrive and where we can grow and where we can be alive and where our lives will be right with him, and we'll have clean hands and a pure heart. Some of us have come here, we're flopping on the beach, and we would say, I'm all out. But I want us, I pray when this wave sweeps through us, that we'll be able to say, do this with me and say it with me. I'm all in. If that were true, we'd be in the ocean swimming. Our life would be full of meaning and significance, and we'd be alive if we were, say it with me, I'm all in. How do you get all in with God? How does God get all into you and into me? Remember we talked about Peter Parker, and he was bitten by the spider who'd had some radioactive rays pass through him, and he fell down, and he got up, Spider-Man. We said, that doesn't happen with the Christian life. We immediately come to Christ, as many of you have, but to live that life, to stay in the ocean, to stay in the deep part, and to have a life that's full and meaningful and relevant, that's free and clear. That's what we want. How do you stay there? And we discovered that God is on our side. When we receive Jesus Christ, we remember Ephesians chapter number 1, and we said, you know, God chose me, God chose you on his team. Man, that's something. God adopted you into his family. Whoa, I received Christ, I'm in his. God forgives you. God has a plan for you, and God is working in you. Listen carefully. Since the beginning of time, man has tried to build a bridge to God. In the Bible, they call the Tower of Babel. Man said, I'm going to build this tower so high, we're going to go all the way up, and we're going all the way up where God is. Yuri Gagarin, the Russian cosmonaut who was the first one to move away from the gravity, went into outer space. When he came back, he said, I went all the way out of the pull of the earth. And he said, I didn't see God. Looking for God. And so from the beginning of time, man has built bridges trying to reach God. Now that's all the religions of the world. But all the time, follow me. Let me tell you what was happening. God was building a bridge to reach man, humanity. And it started, I guess, when old Abraham and the Ur of the Chaldees, modern day Syria, Iraq, Iran, he said, by faith, God spoke to him and said, Abe, you get up, you leave this godless kind of living, and I'm going to make out of you a people, and you're going to build a city that has a foundation, whose builder and maker is the Almighty himself. So there's Abraham, here's the bridge, Isaac, Jacob, Joseph, Moses, David, the prophets, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Malachi, until finally in the fullness of time, Jesus was born. And Jesus lived that perfect life. Remember, God made out of human flesh, so no one could ask, I wonder what God is like. We just say, look at Jesus, that's God. Until finally, he was nailed to the cross, and he said, Tetelestai, it is finished. And they said, he's dead. He's finished. That's not what he said. He said, it is finished. What is finished? The bridge. The bridge, not man-made. Man making all these bridges, trying to get to God, but the bridge that God made. And he drilled those nails in the hand of Jesus. The bridge was finished so that man now can get all the way to God. Ready? Yes. Ready? Yes. And therefore, those who've received Christ, man, you have walked on that bridge, you have understood that bridge, and you are a young person now in the Lord Jesus Christ. And it's wonderful. And now 3 things are true. We have a right relationship with God. Isn't that something? To have a right relationship with God. That's a fabulous thing. That we know him and he knows us. We can talk to him and listen and he speaks back to us. A personal relationship with God is available. Why? Because we're in the family. How do we stay in relationship with God? We keep our eyes on the S-O-N, on the light of Christ in our lives, and our eyes on the S-O-N. Suddenly, we know how to walk with God. Let me tell you something, teenagers. I want to invite all of you to join the knee team, K-N-E-E, knee team. I've been on that team a long time. Let me tell you about the knee team. The biggest problem anybody here has with living the Christian life is spelled S-E-L-F, self. And therefore, we have to deal with self. To be on the K-N-E-E team, let me say this is what we do as a regular thing for the rest of your life. When I get into bed at night, I get down on my knees. And on my knees, I remember the number one problem I've had this day that I've just lived. S-E-L-F. And so I take those letters, I put my hands on the bed, and I spell S. Lord, I surrender to you. That's the first thing. Lord, I give myself to you, and I talk about things in that day that I just lived that I needed to surrender, when I charged, when I should have retreated, when I spoke, when I should have been silent, when I was silent, when I should have spoke. And I surrendered that day that I just lived to him. And then I lift my hands up off the bed and I empty myself. I said, Lord, take all of this trash, this stuff that's accumulated in my life. I empty myself to you. S-E-L, and then I turn my hands up and I say, Lord, I love you. I thank you. I love you and I praise you for your grace in my life today. I love you. Then I hold my hands up and say, Lord, fill me with your Spirit. Give me that power to live your life through this night. And then I get up. And then when I wake up in the morning, I roll out of bed. I get right back down on my knees. And I know what my problem is going to be that day. What is it? What is it? So I deal with it. Surrender. It's been a while. Empty. Love, praise, fill me with your Spirit so my life will count for you today. And when you do that, I call it knee to knee, K-N-E-E, K-N-N-E. The last thing that touches the floor, you go to bed, your knee. The first thing that gets up is your knee. And you're on the knee team, and I can tell you that will help you to swim in the Christian life. Great story in 2 Kings, chapter number 5. It tells the story of a man named Naaman. Naaman was a general in the army of the most powerful nation in the world at this moment in history. He served at the right hand of the king. He had one of the most powerful armies in the world, undefeated. And the Bible tells us Naaman was strong, talented, a warrior, a leader, a man of integrity, and he had the total confidence of the people as well as the king. But the Bible says he was a leper. A leper. Leprosy is one of the oldest diseases we know about in history. We know now it's a bacterial infection. Leprosy affects your skin, and then it affects your eyes. Many lepers went blind. It affects your mind. It affects your lungs. You have trouble breathing, just like a fish out of water. That was what leprosy was. It was a terminal illness. I'm sure there in Syria that he got all the soothsayers to come and put all kind of ointment on him. I'm sure he had some witch doctors who danced around him. I'm sure he went to all the pagan temples and asked those priests to pray for him and to get their God, whatever his name might be, to come and heal him. He did everything he could to be healed, but he kept looking, and he was a great man, but those spots were still there. But he was a leper. But in the household, there was a little Jewish maid, a little Israeli maid. She'd been brought out from Israel when they'd gone down and conquered Israel, and she was a slave. And in that household, she saw what had happened, and she went to Mrs. Naaman and said, you know, back where I'm from, in Israel, there is a prophet there who heals people who are lepers. Oh, healing. A chance not to die, a chance to get well, a chance to be whole again. You see, he was a great man, one of the greatest men in all the world, but he was a leper. And so he went to the king of Syria and told him that there was a prophet in Israel who could heal people who had lepers. And the king said, no problem, I'll write a letter. I'll command the king to bring that prophet out and you will be healed. He wrote a letter. And so the king of Israel told Naaman, you go to Samaria and there's a prophet there named Elisha and he will come out and he will see that you're healed. He's a man of God. And so Naaman, a little confused but excited still, got all of his entourage together, all the wagons, the gold, the silver, and they make that little trek down to Samaria, and they get there and they come to Elisha's house and he knocks on the door and a servant comes to the door and says, who are you? And he looks around, he said, oh, I'm Naaman, I've come for the prophet to heal me. And the servant says, wait outside, and he goes in a little while, he comes back. He said, Elisha, the man of God, said, for you go down to the Jordan River and dunk yourself 7 times in the river and you'll be clean. Just go and wash in that muddy old Jordan River where all the common folks wash and be healed. And he goes and must have taken off all his medals that told everybody what he'd done. He took off his uniform that told everybody who he was, and he wades in that muddy old Jordan River. All the troops are watching, and Naaman goes down once, comes up, still leprosy. Down second time, comes up, leprosy. Third time comes up, fourth time comes up, fifth time comes up, sixth time comes up, and he thought, you know, when we get back to Syria, they're going to tell everybody what a crazy loony nut I am down here in this muddy old river. But he goes down the 7th time, and he comes up, and the Bible says his skin was as pure and clean as a baby's skin. And Naaman comes out whole, healed, complete. That's an amazing story. You see, when we present our body, we present everything. And then he begins to cleanse up our minds. And then a miracle comes. Christ comes. And suddenly people will begin to see, without you even telling them, though you're welcome to, that teenager, something happened down there in Pensacola, Florida. I didn't think it was possible. The attitude has changed. The outlook has changed. Look at the eyes have changed. The smile has changed. The whole relationships have changed. That is a new person. I wouldn't even know my daughter. I wouldn't even recognize my son. They're brand new. They moved away some friends that were dragging them down in the trash. They cleaned up their attitude. Now they're a part of the family. Others who you have rejected as a friend, you go back to them and ask for forgiveness and try to help and pick them up. And now, here's that teenager. It was all about me. I'm like a general of my life. Oh, no, not a general anymore. I've given my life to him. I'm a servant. I'm a servant. You know what the difference in being an instrument of God and a servant of God is? An instrument of God is something God picks up and uses. He used Pharaoh. He could use somebody like you or a teacher or somebody on the staff. He just picks us up and uses us. That's an instrument. But a servant is somebody who's available 24/7, who's humbled themselves and said, Lord, I'm not in it for me, mine, anything else. I surrender my body and my mind to you. Make me brand new from the inside out. That's who we are. That's what we must become. young teenagers, let me tell you something. If we can get in right relationship with God, yes. And right relationship with ourselves, yes. And right relationship with other people, yes. That means that we are really ready for God to work in our lives in ways that we can't even dream of. Miraculous ways, beautiful ways. When you go back and everybody who knows you sees that God has changed you and will continue to change you, man, your life will begin to be something beautiful and something good.
My friend Lindsay, she comes up and is like, hey, are you going to beach retreat? And I was like, no, like my situation, I don't have the money. And she's like, oh, we can get like the sponsorship. And I was like, oh, okay, well, let me do that. So I'm here on a sponsorship.
My mom told me to come one day, and honestly, I didn't want to go just because, you know, sometimes you would make that excuse of like, oh, I'm sick, Mom, you know, not to not go to church. And she told me to come, and I was just like, okay. So I ended up going. The first worship night, and I looked around, and I just see kids on their knees, some people crying, and you could just see God moving through the room. It was just evident, and I was in awe.
Well, last night it really made me feel his love. He's gonna love me no matter what. I felt ashamed coming into this, and it just showed me he loves you no matter what. Taking me in, knowing the things that I've done in my past, he still is like reaching out.
I felt as if I wasn't loved, as if he wasn't there for me. But when I learned more about him, he gave me hope to live on. He gave me hope to look forward to something every single day. And I love that he gives me hope, and he gives hope to everybody. I hear stories of people, their lives being changed by Jesus and then giving hope. And I think he has hope to every single one of us.
I always say I want to be a great man, but what am I doing to do it? And then I thought about it, and I was like, wow, like Jesus is the man. He is the best man that I want to be, you know?
When I was going through my dark times, I didn't trust God, and I feel so awful saying that right now, because I've done a complete 180 from that, and I trust in him more than ever in anything.
When I came to Beach Retreat, I felt something go through me that I haven't felt ever. I feel like a weight has been lifted off of me, and no pressure is there on me anymore. I feel free. 2 days ago, I accepted Christ into my life.
Through this week, it's changed me by just saying, you know what, you need to let all this go. You can't hold grudges, you can't hold pain inside. And through worship and through the messages, through silent sounds, it's kind of helped me release all my pain. His love will always be real no matter what happens, what you do, and you can always go back to him.
When I didn't know him, I was getting hurt constantly, but now I have hope, and I forever will have hope.
Like, I wasn't all in at all. Like I said, I would just pray at night and just wake up and live day by day. But after seeing this, the testimonies and the preachings and just all it's joyful. It could bring joy to my heart. Like, I know God could do that for me too. Like, I want to live for Jesus.
I want a fresh start, and I want to achieve what he has planned for me in life.
When Dr. Young made us all put our heads down and pray, and he prayed for all of us, and he said, if you want Jesus in your life, please raise your hand up. And I did. And when I did that, I felt whole. I felt as if something was missing, and that was Jesus, and he filled out my life, and I feel like a different person. I feel changed.
And then last night, I just felt this rush. I kind of lost my breath. I was just, Lord, just deliver me. I want to be closer to you. I want to know who you are. And it was like, you know what? You need to get baptized. So I'm ready to go all in. all in for him. Yep.
Jesus, you change everything. Lives healed, hope found here now. Jesus, you change everything. Chains fall, fear bow here now. Jesus, you change everything. Lives healed, hope found here now. Jesus, you change
This has been quite a night at Beach Retreat. We've had, 2,500 people here. Every night we've had great music, praise times, a sermon in which we invited people to know Christ, to live for Christ. And tonight it's a special time in this Coliseum. We baptized hundreds and hundreds of teenagers, some of your sons and daughters and friends. So I just wonder in church today, if this isn't a time as an invitational hymn is being sung, for you to stand up and say, you know, I need to do what these kids have done, to humble myself, to publicly put up my flag for Jesus Christ. That's what they've done. We've taken a blue flag that I'm going to see right here, and they've held it over their heads, and they put up their flag for Jesus Christ. They put on a shirt. In that church, it says, I'm all in. I'm all in for God. I'm all in for Christ. And we baptize these tonight. Some of you are Christians. You define a church where you can worship and serve and grow biblically. If God is leading, come into our church family as we sing in a moment. If God is leading, you've never put up your flag for Christ. Say, I'll understand it all. After you come forward, there'll be counselors there. They will sit down with you, explain clearly what it means to be a son and daughter of God. These kids, man, what a week we've had. None of us will ever forget it because God has changed the lives of hundreds and hundreds, and He wants to change your life. They'll come back to your homes and you'll see a different kid, a different teenager, because through the power of Christ, something beautiful, something good has happened in their lives. They've been humming this as I've issued this invitation to you. Now listen as we sing it triumphantly. Sing it, gang, would you? Here we go. Something beautiful.